On today's show, Jason Kidd always loses game one. The Mavs have him right where they want him. No, Mavs lose this game against the OKC Thunder. Let's talk about the one reason the Mavs lost this game. Today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
We have cracked.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Amazing.
Your team every day.
Still can't eat milk.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member at NBA channel manager, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter, your one-stop shop for the best news and analysis on the Dallas Mavericks and the NBA, sent straight to your inbox every day. Check the QR code link in the description. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And joining me as always on a post game, the post game prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. How you feeling today, Slightly Biased?
The cup runneth over and spill
and spill
fall and
everywhere.
break.
This cup.
I've witnessed a cup victory in my lifetime. 1999.
Wow.
Dallas Stars Stanley Cup. Yes, I was
Wow.
alive. Yes, save the comments for another time. Uncle Slightly, we all get it, the jokes. And just, I guess there's only room for one cup in Dallas, and I'm wearing it.
I guess so. Today's episode, we'll get into the Mavs loss to the OKC Thunder. Mavs lose this one, 118 to 104. We'll talk about the big issues the Mavs had in this game. We'll talk about there's a couple of good things we saw in this game. The Mavs were playing terrible and were within 3 a couple times, got it to within 10 in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about some of those moments as well. But let's start here. To me, I think this was Luka's worst game of the season. And there's a lot of different things you could talk about with Luka. He was getting doubled a lot in this game. They were playing physical with him. The quality of shots that he could get off in this game were not very good. He went 5 of 15, just 16 points, 6 turnovers. He was playing into their hand, I thought, in the passing lanes a lot. The Thunder, this is the stat we said on the preview. They create more turnovers than they turn the ball over themselves. And Luka was trying those like long outlet passes where he takes advantage of, the Wizards or the Raptors or whatever other teams he could take advantage of. Wasn't going to work in this Thunder game. And the Thunder's energy and physicality really stepped up, and the Mavs just didn't have it. And I think it starts with Luka.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely statistically one of his worst games of the season, if not maybe his worst game of the season. I thought, in the first half, I thought he did a good job, actually. They were double teaming him. They were blitzing him. And I thought that he was doing a good job moving the ball. And I thought the Mavericks generated a lot of good looks out of those double teams, getting the ball in the middle of the floor. Stuff we saw all postseason series against them last year, where you get the ball in the middle of the floor, you're bigger than them, especially whenever you set a high screen with your center. Hartenstein's playing at the level. You know that their backline is going to be so small. Get the ball in the middle of the floor and let your bigs work. And I thought, we'll talk about this later, I did not think the Mavericks bigs had a good game at all in this one.
No.
So that definitely played a factor. But, they double teamed him. It was difficult for him to get shots. And then, he wasn't making a lot of shots. But I want to throw him some bail because I thought in the second half, I felt like he went the first 3 or 4 minutes of the half without touching the basketball once. And I'm okay with him not bringing the ball up in a matchup like this because they're going to full court press. Lou Dort's going to be incredibly physical. This Thunder team, they're incredibly physical. They get away with a lot of stuff. Sure, they're the best defense in the league for a reason. They're very, very, very good defensively. They're so aggressive at the point of attack defensively. And I'm cool with Luka not bringing the ball. But then if that's what you're going to do, you have to incorporate things into your offense where you're getting him the ball coming off of pin downs, coming off of screens, whatever the case may be, in post touches, so he can get going, and he's not getting the ball with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, having to force something, or not getting the ball at all. I mean, how many possessions in the second half do we see where Spencer Dinwiddie just had to dribble the air out of the ball, or Naji Marshall had to dribble the air out of the ball, or the Mavs had to take a late in the shot clock, shot because they couldn't get the ball to Luka or Kyrie. And that's a credit to the Thunder defensively for sure. But yeah, it was a tough game for Luka, but I thought earlier in the season he had games where his effort level wasn't the best, and I saw people, maybe there were some moments tonight where the effort level wasn't good, but I didn't think that was the problem really tonight. I thought it was more a credit to the Thunder defensively. The Mavs just have to do a better job adjusting in game to stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought he played slow, and I thought that he played soft against some of the physicality of OKC. But I think you're completely right in that the Mavs, one of my criticisms of the Mavs for the last couple of years has been, can they get some more actions into their offense to get Luka the ball where it's not just him one-on-one against somebody. Like if that doesn't work, then everything else falls apart. It's like, okay. And it's one of the reasons why it's tough for Spencer Dinwiddie. He has ups and downs where all of a sudden you're like, okay, if Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't just go completely off right here and win his one-on-one matchup, then the Mavs offense goes completely in the drain. It's like, okay, they need some more things like that incorporated in their offense for teams like this, for teams like the Celtics, honestly, in the finals. This team, the Thunder team, really reminded me of this Celtics team the Mavs played last year with like Hartenstein as the Porzingis, and then you've got all the the shot makers and J-Dub and SGA, and then they took 53s, like it's very Celtics like in this game. And so can the Mavs get some extra things going for where Luka, the thing that the Thunder did is they doubled off of every single screen Luka got. So if Gafford came up or Lively came up or Kyrie or whoever came up, they were doubling Luka off of those screens. So you couldn't just set one on-ball screen for Luka to get him the ball and put him in a good position. So he was not put in a good position a lot in this game. But the other thing about that, though, is they're coming up to set screens because he wasn't winning his one-on-one matchup. They didn't just send doubles all the time, just off of jump with him on the ball. And so I think there's in a game like this, there's blame to go around, right? There's Luka's part of it. There's the coaching staff not setting the offense up to succeed in a game like this, and there's others. Yeah, I mean.
My thing with Luka will always circle back. Anytime I get angry and upset with him, it's when I feel like his effort level isn't where it should be, where it's up to par. Again, maybe there was some rebounding stuff here and there, but I think that was a symptom of the entire team. I said this in my post game where it's like, if the Mavs had felt like got punched in the mouth, if you didn't expect that, then that shame on you. Like if you didn't expect this Thunder team to come out swinging in this game, then that's horrible coaching. And the Mavericks, they were down 3 at halftime. That was not indicative of how that first half felt whatsoever. Like that third quarter was coming. You knew that if there wasn't going to be adjustments, and if that's how the first half played out, that third quarter was going to happen, which it did. I just thought their effort on the boards tonight was really bad. You can't get out rebounded against this Thunder team. Like that's how you beat them last year. You can't lose the rebounding battle. And a lot of it is not boxing out. A lot of it's letting guys crashing off the wings or corners. You got to put bodies on these guys. Has been a problem for this Mavericks team forever. The energy and effort level has to be better there. And some of that's on Luka Doncic. Absolutely. That's one of his big pitfalls is effort on the glass at times. And defensively, I thought they had moments that were, not rotating out the shooters like that. Isaiah Joe 3. Was that at the end of the half?
I think it was the end of the third quarter or
that one off the offensive rebound, which again, you lose a 50-50 hustle ball and it leads to and that was a backbreaker. That was like, this game, it just feels like it's over. But I was thinking
the offensive rebound percentage for the two teams, not just pure numbers, but 32.7% for the Thunder and 18% for the Mavs. That's a stark difference. That's above average and absolutely awful in the tank if you're just going by percentages there. The Mavs defense, like the Thunder, didn't really go off for most of the game. They had like a 110 like offensive rating, which is average or like slightly below average for most of the game until that fourth quarter where they got some shots in. The Mavs offense was the one that just did not show up and they did not get enough going in this one. And so to me, that's why I started with Luka, but the turnovers, the turnovers absolutely destroyed them in this game. 18 turnovers is not going to work against the Thunder. It's just not. Like, and the types of turnovers that they got, where there's some where there's the Grimes one where Omax wasn't looking. There's the Luka ones where he's throwing the outlet passes. There's just a bunch of everybody except for Klay, Gafford, and Omax, the guys that don't really like pass the ball that much just by sheer roll, had more than 2 turnovers. Had 2 or more turnovers. It's like everybody. And then the Thunder turned that into 36 points. That's it. Like that's a game right there.
That's absolutely the game. I mean, that's really what we should have led with, because that's we know the Thunder team. I think you mentioned it. They mentioned it on the broadcast. Honestly, an insane stat that they get more steals than they turn the ball over.
Yeah, it's wild.
I think Falwell said it never happened in NBA history over the course of a full season. We'll see if that holds. That'd be kind of surprising if it did. But that's insane. And you got to know to take care of the ball, man.
They did tonight. 14 steals, 13 turnovers.
That's honestly a crazy stat. And again, they're so physical at the point of attack, and it's the same thing. Like the Mavs went 7 of 14 on corner threes. Great job there. Like that's what this Thunder team's gonna give up. Last year they gave up more corner threes than anybody. This year they've given up more corner threes than anybody. It's because anytime you get in the paint, there are 10 hands around you. Every Thunder player is digging at the ball. They're getting their hands in passing lanes. You got to be strong with the basketball. There was a couple just horrible backcourt turnovers. Horrible. I think there was at least 3 Mavs turnovers in the backcourt. Those can't happen. You're going to get the ball poked away against a team like this, and you're going to have some passes that are usually there. They get tipped because you just have a bunch of rangy athletes on this Thunder team that are incredible defensively, and you just got to, shake their hands when they do it. You can't just have turnovers with the backcourt. That can't happen.
No, brutal. Absolutely brutal things that happened to the Mavericks. I feel like the Thunder did come and take this game, but the Mavs shot themselves in the foot enough in this game to say, man, if you fix some of these things and you move forward, then you feel like if you face the Thunder again, then you'd have a chance. It's not like this team completely blew them out and you're like, oh, there's just no chance. This team is just head and shoulders above like the finals last year. Coming up, I want to talk about Kyrie. I want to talk about some other issues we saw in this game. Let's talk about the centers as well. What problems did they have in this game? And are those problems going to rear their ugly head later in the season? We'll talk about that and more coming up.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. You can tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. You can get that on any kind of thing. Go check out, see what they have available. There's all kinds of stuff. The NBA Cup, the Mavs no longer have odds. Sadness on that. But they do have title odds for the finals. Celtics plus 200, Thunder plus 400, Knicks plus 1,100. Mavericks plus 1,300. So they're 4th right there. They're 2nd in the West. That makes sense. I'm with it on that. Cavs plus 1,400. Nuggets plus 1,600. So check out that. See anything else they have. They have NFL, college basketball, college football, all kinds of odds. Check out FanDuel.com today and get that $150 in bonus bet when your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Also, if you are tired of your wireless bill for your cell phone, for your phone plan, being way too high, and every time you go to it, I see it get removed from my account, the auto pay every single month, and it gets real frustrating. Say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Bring your phone number along with your existing contacts as well. To get this new customer offer and your 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month with the nation's largest 5G network, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA, mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower, above 40 gigabytes on limited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate you, every one of you. If you listen to the show every day, you're a card-carrying member of the Raccoon Squad. You listen, and especially if you listen after losses like this. I've heard from so many of you at Mavs games that say, I can't listen after the losses.
That's
fine.
fair.
It's fine. We'll take you back. The Mavs just had like 11 out of 12 wins, so we'll take that one for sure. I want to talk about Kyrie because we talked about Luka, but I think Kyrie, he had 17 points in this game, 7 of 14 from the field, 5 assists. You just need more from both of those guys offensively if you're going to win a game like this. And another game where I don't know that I would say Kyrie struggled in this game, but he didn't give you enough in a game like this. Because I would look back at some of the Thunder games in the playoffs and say Kyrie struggled, but in this one, I wouldn't say he struggled, but they needed more from him in a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to how this is how they played Kyrie last year. Put J-Dub on him, make life very difficult for Kyrie, face guard him, ball deny him, all of this stuff. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about Luka. The Mavs offensively, they got to do better about figuring out wrinkles to, get those guys the ball. Kyrie's a good cutter. He's a willing cutter. He moves around off ball definitely more than Luka does. I mean, that's still something that over the course of Luka's career, he just hasn't done that much that he's still working on, But one thing I did like that they did later in the game is when they knew that they were going to run a high pick and roll and they knew that they were going to get the ball in the middle of the floor, parking Kyrie in that weak corner so that that the low man's going to be coming from that corner. So you're going to skip a pass out to Kyrie so he can shoot a 3 or attack and close out. Those are good adjustments right there offensively. Would have liked to see them go to that more. But yeah, I mean, we saw this last year in the series, man. It's hard for Kyrie to get going in this. It's literally part of their game plan. We're going to take Kyrie out of the equation. And if PJ kills us from 3, then so be it. And unfortunately, the Mavs are missing their OKC merchant tonight.
Apparently the Mavs are a PJ merchant. They
They are a PJ merchant.
But you can't. I don't think you can play the card that the Thunder played Luka and Kyrie out of this game.
They did though. I mean,
it can't be both. There's
Why
only
not?
It's only 5 players on their team.
So if you put Lou Dort on Luka and Lou Dort is hugging him the entire time, and then you blitz Luka on ball screens, you can still have somebody on Kyrie and you just live with whatever the result is, and then you just trust your defense to rotate quickly, and that's what the Thunder do better than anybody. They fly around the court. This
is the point I wanted to make, is that the Thunder were just way more athletic than the Mavs. That really stood out in this game, where they could recover faster. They got to balls faster. The thing where you're talking about the 10 hands, they're faster to the ball. The thing with the centers is they were quicker to swarm, and you had to make that like split second decision that Lively is usually really good at, and actually had some good passes in this one, but you have to make that pass super fast and even faster against the Thunder because of how athletic their team is. The transition buckets, the points off turnovers, they really took advantage of that. They didn't have a ton of fast break points, but I thought their points off turnovers were a lot of athleticism and all that. They just don't have a ton of weaknesses on this team, man. It's hard. You got to play a really, really great game.
Yeah, I mean, don't let this get lost in it. And I know I'd never understand this has happened after the playoffs. And I've been in on this Thunder team for a long time. I was in on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
To our listeners' chagrin, we've been in on
our
this Thunder
listeners' chagrin. I saw the vision with Shai in his rookie season. I was like, that guy should not be that good in isolation, like as a rookie, right? So this is a great basketball. Don't let that get lost. Like I don't understand why in the playoffs last year, everyone, Mavs fans, I get it. It's just this has the feelings of a real rivalry that's kind of brewing. Like I don't, Luka and Lou Dort. Luka hates him. Like he gets so annoyed of him. There's a real pest energy there, and the fan bases kind of go at it. The Thunder crowd boos Luka. I think that's awesome personally.
They booed him on every touch in the first quarter,
every touch. And if Mavs fans of the AC had any guts whatsoever, they'd be booing Shai on every single touch the next time they're in town. That's what a fun rivalry is all about, you know. And I think it gets lost as like. I see a bunch of Mavs fans on Twitter, a bunch of people in my community in chat. They're like, the Thunder actually are good. Like, the Thunder are trash. I'm like, don't you want the Thunder to be good? The Mavs beat them in the playoffs. Like, it sounds better if you're like, yeah, the Thunder are a great team.
I'll never get this. I felt like the Clippers fans did this, the Thunder fans did this, the Timberwolves fans did this, like, and then the Celtics fans were the worst at it all through the playoffs last year. It felt like, oh, this Mavs team, and they would put down the Mavs team. Like, don't you want to say that you beat a good team on the other side? And like
I don't
Celtics
get it
fans,
at all.
everybody's calling your title a fraud because you didn't play anybody, and now you're trying to say that the Mavs weren't anybody either.
That's why I was saying that earlier. It's like if I was a Celtics fan, it's like, man, that Mavs team,
they were really good.
That I've ever seen last year.
Hey, if we can't get them to say the Mavs are good, we'll trick them into saying.
I mean, this Thunder team is great, man. They are really good. And this could very well, and just from watching around the league, I do think these are the two teams that I would say right now in the West are your two top tier contenders
for sure
by the end of the season. So this could easily be a Western Conference Finals matchup. It could be a series we see in the second round, maybe depending on seeding. So, this is a great basketball team. Losing to this team on the road, I know they beat them on the road earlier this season without Luka. Like, that was a great win. But losing this team on the road is not the end of the world.
No, it's not. It is the end of their NBA Cup run, though.
It is.
They are done. True. And now I get to say the thing that I've been sending to all the insiders. I've been texting them this all throughout. They've been asking, like, how does the Cup work? And so I gave them I texted them the whole rundown of how the Cup works. And then I said, all right, there's this little wrinkle. The Mavs have 4 home games after this NBA Cup thing. Yeah. The Mavs also now get a home game that they'll play because they lost to OKC. They will play a home game, I think, on...
No, they can play in Golden State.
No, the Mavs have it as a home game. The Mavs are selling tickets. they're selling tickets to this.
What? All of the things I've heard is that if it's Golden State, it's in Golden State.
Okay. Well, okay. So, but
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong now.
There are tickets out there.
They're literally scamming you.
I mean, they might be. But if that is a home game, which it is on the Mavs website, but if it's not, if it is a home game, the Mavs will be home for 15 days.
200 IQ play then by the Mavericks.
Like, maybe Luka just didn't want to win this game, but now they get these 15 days at home. They get 5 home games in a row with this one. If it's going to be a home game it'll be on Sunday. We know that for sure. It'll be on Sunday. But yeah, then they have 4 home games after that. So this could be a nice moment for the Mavs, who have been sick. PJ missed because of illness. Naji came back. We haven't even talked about him. We'll get into him a little bit later. Awesome. But yeah, the Mavs now have this 15-game, like this 15-day home stretch after being in this crazy travel that Jason Kidd talked about, saying it wasn't fair for the Mavs to have to do this wild travel. They haven't been home for 2 consecutive games since when? November.
It's been over a month. It was early November. I mean, that's crazy. That doesn't
November
even
8th,
sound right.
November 6th and 8th, the Bulls and the Phoenix game.
That Phoenix Suns game was the last time they had back-to-back home. Like, that feels like that was a lifetime ago.
I know. The Mavs were 5-4 then.
Jeez,
we hadn't even completely crashed out before we were already back.
Yeah.
Like we left and came back already.
That's what I let a few fly on the lockdown episode.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it all evens out in the end, obviously, but that's brutal.
Yeah, it's wild. And so yeah, so now the Mavs have this. They're out of the NBA Cup. Your parting thoughts and your parting word to the NBA Cup and the Mavericks experience in the NBA Cup.
My parting thoughts. What a run, what a journey, what a team, what a group, what an experience. I'm just so sad it's over.
I'm just proud of everyone involved.
I am. I'm proud of the run. It was a great run.
They made it. They got there. They almost won. They got within 10 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, they scored 104 points. I mean, 100 points, that's a lot of points. Not in the NBA, but in general.
That's triple digits.
They got to triple digits.
They're 100 airs.
Coming up, let's get into the couple things that went well in this game. Let's talk about Naji Marshall, who came back from illness and played really well. Let's talk about Max. Talk about that. Talk about Klay Thompson as well. Some good things happened to the Mavericks in this game. So let's talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code Locked On NBA to get $20 off your first purchase. I'm gonna go on Game Time right now and see if they're selling tickets to this game. They're selling tickets right now, $37 for the contingent game on Monday. So go check out that and see what they got there. But they have tickets for everything else too. Concerts, theater, comedy, all kinds of other things, not just sports. You can check it out and use the all-in pricing. I toggle that and I turn it on every single time I use it because it shows you exactly what you're going to pay up front. And so you don't get surprised by fees and all things like that. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly, let's end it on a good note. Let's talk about some good things. Naji Marshall coming back from illness, played in this game, and sometimes it felt like he was the only player on the Mavs that matched the Thunder's energy in a game like this. He had 19 points, 7 of 11 from the field. We love 7-11 here in DFW. 2 threes. He never only...
I didn't realize that was just a Southern thing, really.
I think 7-Eleven's headquarters is here in DFW.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, he hit 2 threes. He never just hits one unless he leaves the game.
Yeah.
But I thought Naji Marshall played really well in this game.
Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, we got to look at this reoccurring stat where if Naji scores 20, it feels like it's bad. It feels like it's a loss.
No, he scored 20 when Luka was out a bunch.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. All right, I'm sorry. That was wrong of me. Well, 3-2. It's not like I feel like if you were to tell me Naji scored 20 points, I'm like, oh, the Mavs must have dominated tonight.
Okay, the one of the losses is the Miami game. That was the overtime game, right?
All right, yeah.
And then one of them is this OKC game, which
and
I
then
guess wasn't that close.
So they're 3-3 now because the OKC game's on here. Indiana, which is just a scheduled loss every year, so that doesn't really count.
The Pacers can't beat anybody, but they can beat the Mavs every single time.
Yeah, that's just a scheduled loss.
It's like them and the Warriors. The Mavs just have such a hard time defending both of those teams the way that they play.
The Pacers one has gotten annoying, where it's like, all right, they're actually not good.
Well, the Pacers one had us crash out so hard last year.
Yeah, it's just an annoying team to lose to for a lot of reasons. But no, Naji was great tonight, and yeah, his energy, like you said, really, really important for this team. So good to see him back out there. They said he was going to play 20 to 25 minutes. He ended with 29. So there you go.
They feel like you just look at him and are like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll just keep driving and hit my floater. I'll just keep doing that over and over again."
Craziest shot in the league, maybe. It makes no sense.
It doesn't. He off balance, wrong foot, wrong hand, like just throws it up. But you feel like it's something about his balance, right? Like the fluid between, like the fluid in his ears must just be impeccable. Like it could be frozen in his head where he just never loses balance.
It's like like Alvin Kamara in football, where it's like, how is this guy? And it comes out that's like this guy's core strength and balance is like some of the most insane we've seen.
Yeah.
And it's just like nothing knocks him off his balance. Maybe that's like Naji.
We should do a sports science with like Simone Biles and Naji Marshall on a balance beam.
And me. You want to know something? At Texas Tech, I had a friend who did some sports science class. And they made me test my balance, and they said I had one of the highest scores.
Let's go.
Yeah, just letting you guys know.
What did they? How'd they test you?
You did like squats. You stood on one leg on one of those little it's like the half Swedish ball. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Like from IKEA?
No, it's like on the bottom. It's a ball, and then it has like the flat platform, and you stand on it, and you just balance.
Isaac would have got
that. Oh, because of Swedish meatballs.
Yeah.
The Swedish meatball, by the way, this isn't a plug. Swedish meatball, the Swedish meatball hot and ready at HEB is one of the best microwavable hot and ready meals they have. And I'm not for their microwaved ones usually. Their oven ones are good. Microwave ones are a little, but also the zucchini noodle meatball marinara is really good too.
This is the stuff you guys should clip, not the dumb stuff that you guys clip on post on Twitter. This is the stuff you should clip.
No, that's my favorite 10-second clip from a 30-minute show.
We need an HEB like in around Dallas because there's just not one close enough to me.
I should franchise it.
With Naji Marshall though. I thought he played the physicality. He played really well and all that. Klay Thompson, we got a good Klay Thompson game, I thought, in this one. 7 of 14 from the field, 19 points for Klay, hit 5 of 10 from 3. Like, you'll take that. No turnovers, that's a huge win in this game where everybody seemed to have turnovers.
Yeah.
Played 27 minutes. And I thought Klay played all right. His defense, people have been asking me about his defense, like that haven't watched the Mavericks that much. And I just keep saying he's playing solid within his role.
Yeah.
And the Mavs, he can play in the Mavs defense well. He's not going to be a lockdown defender. We never expected him to be, but he's playing solid within his role. And I thought this was another example of that in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. He's just playing within his role defensively. And I thought that was it tonight too. I thought he had a good game.
Man, minus 17. It's tough.
I know. I was just looking at that too. The worst on the team, but that's why sometimes
he's tied to Luka's minutes, and we already talked about Mavs struggling those.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's just that stat doesn't necessarily is the end all be all in a 1-game sample.
Omax played 12 minutes, hit 2 threes, couple boards, nice assist to Gafford, where I'm pretty sure he stepped out of bounds, but we'll give him the assist. Omax two games in a row where you're like, all right, showing me some good stuff.
It was exactly what we mentioned a couple of shows ago, where it's like in games like these, you really need that energy boost from a guy like Omax. So him just coming out and knocking down threes, I mean, that's massive. And the last 3 games, it feels like he's felt a little bit more comfortable, and maybe that's just confirmation bias where he hit a couple threes. Okay, he's good and he's ready to play. Like sometimes we're guilty of doing that, but sometimes it really is that simple. Like if you hit your threes, everything else we can live with.
The thing with young players though is you got to build on stuff, right? It's like keep showing me more, show me more, show me more. Keep showing me that you're ready and prepared for these minutes, because people have been asking me, in comments and everywhere, is Omax going to take Maxi's minutes now? It's like, well, Maxi was out tonight, so this didn't really count. But Omax has got to show that he can defend without fouling. He's got to show that he can not cause turnovers. He's got to show that he can knock down a 3, maybe more than anything. He's got to show that he can defend well enough to play out there and play in the Mavs defense. And he's showed some stuff the last couple of games, and you'll take that. So Omax keep building on that. And maybe eventually he'll be the perfect backup 4 that the Mavs just need. How many times did we say that at the beginning of the season? It would be great if Omax was ready for these minutes, and now we're seeing some signs of life.
Yeah, and that's a great point too, because he would not have played in this game tonight if Maxi was playing or PJ was playing. So if you're a young player who's fighting for rotation minutes, you really got to take advantage of it, and he's done that so far. I mean, that's what Spence did too. Spence was literally out of the rotation.
Yeah,
And then
fair.
they throw him back in, and he had all that 4 or 5 game stretch. That was crazy. So.
Very, yeah, and now he's back, and now he's like part of the rotation. I'm considering like him part of the top 9 for the Mavs, and counting him with everybody
right now
else
for sure.
Let's see.
I do want to give a shout out real quick to Shea, because he was incredible tonight. Like, he was genuinely incredible. So I want to make sure that we shout him out on here.
I mean, you already said that you called it in his rookie year, so
I did. I scouted him actually in high school. I was like, there's something about this kid.
Should have told the Clippers, man.
I should have.
You're the Clippers. Do you go back and you do that trade again?
Before they traded they lost Paul George for nothing, I used to say, it means something to teams like this to just be relevant. And like, you don't get Kawhi if you don't make that trade. That's been widely reported.
Yep.
So in a lot of ways, it didn't end up being anything, but just for that 5 or 6 years, we always asked, if Kawhi's healthy, like they could be
still. We're asking that now.
Yeah, true. That's true. We are still asking that. But obviously, with hindsight, no way you do that.
I mean, SGA got better than both of them.
Yes, SGA is better than both of them. And no team in the right mind would trade SGA for Paul George and Kawhi right now.
Who would have thought that? Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, the post-game show. Slightly and I do a post-game show after every single game. Isaac and I do episodes as well. Isaac will do one more things, the bonus episodes. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show. We have the Locked On Mavs Insiders group where you can get texts from us. I'll send you every rumor. Shams Charania just dropped a big trade piece about a bunch of different things. Herb Jones, Jimmy Butler, names like that connected to the Mavs, maybe not. And I sent a bunch of notes on that. So subscribe to that. Text the number. And you can subscribe and get notes from us. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, part of the postgame show. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
It'll all be okay, folks.